underway, broadcasting to you from our North Catholic studios in Cranberry Township with our final episode for this season on our podcast, North Catholic Athletics. My name is Alex Brown.
And I'm Ryan Berry.
And together we are your hosts for this podcast. And Ryan, we're coming down to the very end of not only the school year, but the spring sports school year, sports year, I should say. And the teams have really had a fantastic run. As of late, the baseball team, we'll start with them. The baseball team will be making their way to Washington, PA next Wednesday at 4 o'clock for their WPIAL championship game against Indiana, a team that they're very familiar with.
They are. They beat them twice, and you look at this section as a whole. The one thing that can separate teams is pitching, because the pitching in this section is not great overall. I mean, look at the playoffs. You see how many high-scoring games there are?
Yeah.
And that's because some of these teams are really good batting, but no teams really have that much depth pitching besides North Catholic and Indiana.
Yes.
They have three pitchers they can put out there that can take over a game, each of those teams. And that's why they're in the championship and other teams are not, because other teams have been forced to play third-string and second-string pitchers and have failed because the pitching depth is just not great throughout the entire section. So North Catholic's got that advantage with three unbelievable pitchers, and Tommy Shafley, Kane Williams, Landon Eifler, among other relievers that can come into the game and play unbelievable. And they're led by Shafley, who I tell him he should be trying to go play somewhere in college, but he's just going to Penn State. But he's unbelievable.
He could walk on at Penn State if he wanted to. He has the stuff, and he's a good left fielder as well. And he's gotten it done at the plate this year as well. North Catholic has gotten here. They've won 3 games to get to the WPIAL championship as the 6th seed. They first beat Elizabeth Ford last Wednesday, 8-0, and then they beat West Mifflin on this week's Monday, the 20th, 4-0, and then Thomas Jefferson 12-4 on Tuesday. So back-to-back games makes you use that depth in that pitching, as you were just mentioning, Rye. And not only was the pitching good, the bats came alive in those games too.
Yeah, and you look at this Thomas Jefferson game. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson was forced, I don't know, I mean, they only won by 1 in the quarterfinal game, but they're forced to throw their aces, both of their best 2 pitchers. So they had to start the third string against North. And you look at their games throughout the year, there's some games where they lose by, or they let up 5+ runs.
Yes.
And there's other games where they shut teams down, and they didn't have one of their top pitchers. And so I think I told this to Alex. I was like, this game, North Catholic's going to put up a lot of runs. I didn't even go to that game. I mean, it was also 15 minutes away, but because I knew that North Catholic was going to fare well because of the pitching matchup. And that just shows you how important it is to be smart in the way that you throw your pitchers. And TJ, I mean, they're winning in that game. If you know that your third pitcher is pretty weak, why not try to just – you're winning the game. Give them a chance to win it.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you win that, if you throw your second string, your second ace per se, and he throws over 25, you can't pitch him tomorrow. So, and you got to start your third string and pitch your fourth string, no matter what now. And so, it doesn't really give you a chance to win the next game. So why not try to win it with the third string in the game before, or at least go out like that. But I mean, I get trying to win the game that you're playing now, but then they basically set them up for a complete failure the next day.
They did, and the first inning was a blowout already. They pulled the pitcher in the first inning, and they scored 4 runs in the first inning. They were up. Thomas Jefferson got 1 in the bottom of the first, but North Catholic, they had already gotten 11 runs by the third inning. They were up 11-1 after 3 innings. You're not coming back from that. Not in a playoff game. And it was almost a mercy rule at one point, but they got some more runs later in the game. But Caden Williams, as you mentioned, a fantastic performance as well. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts, and he played very well getting through those 5 frames. But the hitting in this game, 18 hits for the Trojans, 7 for Thomas Jefferson, 18 hits for the Trojans, and their top 6 batters, each one of them had 2 hits or more. And Ryan Shantz led the way with 4 hits, 2 RBIs on 5 plate appearances. Just a really impressive performance by North Catholic. And how do you think they'll fare going against Indiana again?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to beat a good team like that 3 times, especially when you've played them and you've only won by 1 run each time.
Yeah, they're close games.
3-2 and 2-1. And this game is going to be pitcher's duel. It'll be Shafley, and you probably know the Indiana's pitcher's name.
Probably Minnick.
Yeah, Minnick. I mean, they're both have shutdown ability, and I think it's going to come down to I mean, Indiana's going to watch film. They're going to look at that West Mifflin game and see that Schaefer is a little bit shaky on his command. And not that much. I mean, he still blanked.
It wasn't his best game.
He still blanked Mifflin, but he had a couple walks.
He did.
And I think that also has to do with Mifflin trying to bunt on every single play. And so they basically, if they don't like something they can bunt, they pull back. So they try to run up the count. And he's still able to pitch a full, complete game. And that just shows to how
amazing.
He almost got out. He almost reached the mark.
Pitches,
At 102
pitches.
So you can go to 105.
Amazing.
In the playoffs. So we got through that.
Amazing
but, I mean,
job.
that's the one thing I think Indiana might look at and try to take a couple more pitches, try to work the count, get on base. Because you got to get on base. You're not going to get that many hits against them. So you try to get on base, and you look at film, and there were a couple times that that West Mifflin was able to steal or catch North Catholic off guard defensively. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game goes. Both teams were a little bit overlooked in the seeding, 6 and 9. Were the two seeds, North Catholic being 6 and Indiana being 9.
Both in the same section.
Both in the same section, which was thought to be a weaker section. It's proved to be not true, basically just because of the pitching.
Yes.
The pitching for these two teams was able to roll them through the playoffs quite easily. I mean, Indiana Mercy rolled number 1 seed Montour. Unbelievable.
And number Montour was 4.
Oh, no, Montour was 4. So Montour upset the 1 seed. Or no, Indiana had upset the 1 seed.
Blackhawk did. Blackhawk upset the 1 seed in the first round.
In the first round.
Blackhawk was the 16.
Man, I just assumed that
can you believe that?
that they were the 1 seed that made it to the quarterfinals.
So Bell Vernon feeling great going into the playoffs as the 1 seed. And then they play Blackhawk, a streaky team, and then Blackhawk just beat them up in that game. And then Blackhawk lost to Indiana on Tuesday.
And then you look at that in Blackhawk, you beat the 1 seed. You're riding high, and then it's basically all for naught.
And then Indiana beat Blackhawk on Monday, and then on Tuesday, that's when they beat Montour at Plum High School. And it all comes down to next Wednesday against Indiana. 4 o'clock start, and it's going to be Shafley on the mound for North Catholic. And I don't think you could put a better person on the mound just about anywhere in the WPIAL. And it's going to be such an exciting game. The only other team that's still going right now for North Catholic is the North Catholic track and field team. They are taking 2 relay teams to states, the 4x4 relay team and then the 4x1 relay team. Both teams are setting records right now, and they're going to be heading into states as a pretty good seeds in their heats.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have been unbelievable, the boys and the girls. And Alex, you going down there. I won a WPIAL gold in 100 meter and trying to reclaim that gold and defend your titles for the 200 and the 100.
It's a good time to be racing at your best, hopefully. So hopefully I'm doing that.
Yeah, I said his PR in the 200 also, but unfortunately lost by a split second.
But I'm just not racing well enough yet. But hopefully this weekend it shows that.
Yeah, I mean,
that we're going. This last race. The last race is a high schooler, and then before going into college. But Siva Cresta, she's also going to be competing in the 100 and the 200. She's had an outstanding season, setting records in all of her events. A remarkable runner, a remarkable person, and she's going to be very busy. I said the 4x4 is going to go to states. It's not the 4x4, it's the 4x8. Pardon me. As the distance runners have had a remarkable season, and they're going to be continuing that at Shippensburg this weekend. And Gracie Plastino will also be running in the 1600. Fantastic runner. And that will do it for our podcast today.
One thing I'd like to add.
No, we're not. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Alex Brown.
No, you're not adding it. You're not adding it in.
Alex Brown won the Alex Brown Award, an inaugural award awarded to a North Catholic student who shows excellence in athletics as well as the athletic community as a whole. And Alex obviously winning golds and WPIALs in all his years at North for the 100, 200, as well as broadcasting for the North Catholic Sports Network and going to basically every single sporting event there was, even a JV baseball game he told me he went to. So he won that award and was presented this morning. I don't even know what day it is, May 23rd, at the Mother's Day T/Mass event. So congrats to Alex on that.
But in all sincerity, though, right? This has been the last 3 years has been outstanding. And I would not have done any of it. I would not have done any of it without you. We wouldn't have. But
there's plenty of people who have helped out both of us along the way here.
Mr. Hoffman,
originally back down,
Mr. Kelly too.
Mr. Kelly, Mr. Miller, Harris,
more or less,
among others. Patrick Sharp, everybody.
Oh yes, we've had a fantastic team. Novak Faden did camera for us for multiple sports, including hockey. Ava Conley, Callie Martis. our fantastic team and the team that will continue next year on this podcast, Callie Martis and Evan Camille, as well as Drew Palmer.
Yes, and you guys are left in good hands because those
Absolutely.
three will do a much better job than I've done. Probably put in a little bit more work than I've done throughout my time broadcasting. And Colin Campbell, I don't know if you
Colin
mentioned
Campbell
him,
as well.
will be
You're
great
right.
on the football
Thank you for
broadcast.
doing
So all 4 of them.
At least be 3 on the podcast.
Yeah, at least 3 on the
be 3
podcast, and the broadcast and Colin will be there. It'll be great, and it's gonna be fun to listen back and watch it.
It's been a pleasure, partner.
And we thank you all for listening and doing to our podcast and watching all our broadcasts throughout the years. It's been a lot of fun. And signing off for the last time, remember, we are your one-stop podcast for everything North Catholic athletics.